Welcome to the Awake Space. This is your place for the inspiration to meet your aspirations. It's all about astrology and being effective with your wokeness. I'm Lori Rivers, your host. Well, we've made it to August of 2021, and wow, this year has both crawled excruciatingly slow as we move through the cosmic tide. It's a little sludgy, but it's also gone by very quickly. And my gosh, what a year of change. If you look back to January to where you are now, you might be a little bit surprised in a good way about all you've managed to conquer and overcome, how you've had to pivot and innovate. And that is where I would love you to put your focus. I know there's a whole lot of pushback against the false positivity crowd, and I'm right there with you. I don't believe in faking it until you make it. But I also know that attitude is absolutely everything. I can have a pretty bad attitude, and when I have a bad attitude, life just kind of sucks. And when I switch it into, I wonder what's possible, I wonder what might occur, I wonder how I can pivot or change direction or make it different, not see it the same way, things change, opportunities show up, and epiphanies happen. Not gonna lie, it's not been an easy week leading up to August 1st for me. I'm kind of glad for the week to be over. Not only did I have some challenges on TikTok with a temporary ban, which is no big deal, but it made me really realize I needed to kind of spread myself around the internet, just in case, because where there is light, there are moths. And those moths sometimes fly into the flame. And so that temporary ban made me take a look at, I need to reorganize myself online, and that means putting more work into the website. And if you don't go to wokeastrology.com, stay tuned. You will be. There's going to be tons of stuff from me there. That's my website. I've got a new newsletter that's going to be coming out weekly. This is very different than the Patreon forecasts. Those are for patrons from Astro Adventurers and up. And we're going to be doing more with Living by Luna. I'm going to try to get some more recorded content up over the next month. I'm making hay while we've got Venus and Mars in Virgo. It's all about organization. August is a fascinating month. We are sitting still with that new moon sandwich. We had the full moon in Aquarius, July 23rd. The new moon in August is August 8th, which is my dad's birthday. And then we have Uranus goes retrograde on the 20th, and we have the full moon on the 22nd. Venus will change signs into Libra in August. And so there's some interesting energies on the way. I will be writing more about that on Patreon and doing some videos on YouTube. In the meantime, let's talk about what it means to have the astrology of the week coming up. I'm going to try to make sure I do this podcast at least once a week because I need a place to be unfiltered. My Gemini Venus needs a place to pop off. And pop off I shall, because I had some really crappy news yesterday about my vision. And I've been emotional about it because my right eye has done what I had hoped it would not do until I was a lot older. And the retina is stretching. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to lose my sight anytime soon. But there's not a lot they can do about it, and I know that. So no more lifting heavy things and no more bonking my head. No bonking of the head allowed. I'm going to have to be a lot more careful. And it also means I need to speed up what I'm creating, because it's a when, not an if. And I probably will lose all of my sight, but it will be increasingly a challenge to write when the retina loses its integrity. Now, hopefully, that's not for another 10 or 15 years. But that's optimal timing, and we never know. So that's been my week, and as a writer, it's not a fun thing to contemplate. I know I'm not your bouncy ball of joy right now, right? But as I've said over and over again, you got to feel the feelings. If you don't feel them, you repress them, and that doesn't help. And one of my very favorite people to listen to, Esther Hicks, as much as they teach about, switching up to your highest vibration, they also say don't put a happy face sticker over an empty gas tank. Sometimes we need to fill up with gas. And so it's okay to have all of our emotions. And when we're in the crunchies is when we're creating things. And that is exactly what a square or opposition aspect is. And I thought I'd talk more about that in the next segment. Reached over 200 patrons on Patreon. Oh my God, am I going to be shouting out in this episode? And I have received multiple letters offering assistance in a variety of ways for when I do need help with the writing. And I want to thank each and every person. Your letters telling me how I've served you, they made me cry. There is nothing more joyful than to know you've been in your soul's purpose. And that will not stop regardless of vision. We'll just figure it the hell out. So with that being said, let's get to the segment. We're going to talk about Mars and Venus in Virgo. We're going to talk about Venus trine Uranus and what that can mean for you and what it means for all of us and what we can do with it. That's what we're going to talk about next here on the Awake Space. I'm Lori Rivers, your host. I'm an astrologer, metaphysician, and professional coach. So we've got Venus and Mars in Virgo. Now, Virgo represents a lot of things. On the plus side, we've got organization, perception, harvest. It's time of organizing things. It's when you're harvesting, there's lots of ways we harvest, but if we go back before mechanized harvest, you had the threshers that went ahead, and then you had the gleaners who followed behind, and you needed to be perceptive so you didn't miss any of the valuable food stuff. If you're hunting and gathering, you have to be perceptive to see what you're hunting or what you're gathering, and we gather all kinds of things. In fact, the term wool gathering meant you went up into the hills and you looked for wool that had gotten stuck on branches. Yeah, all kinds of knowledge up in this head. Virgo is perceptive energy. It doesn't have to be over perfectionism. In fact, perfectionism screws us over. We don't want that. What we do want is to be more about refining. Instead of beating yourself up saying, I'm not good enough, it is, okay, I do this okay. I would like to be better at it this way. Reframing is very much Virgo energy. Remember, Mercury rules both Gemini and Virgo. Gemini energy is very quick, very fast, lots of ideas, lots of communicating. It can be word vomit. And I don't say that with anything but love, because remember, I have a Gemini Venus. Virgo energy is about editing and refining and revisiting, and reframing. So if you're looking at something in a way that slows you down, stops you, paralyzes you, like for me, I told you about my eyes earlier on. I've been really emotional about that. My whole life is going to change at some point. And the thing is you never know when it's going to happen. Now that could be anything. But when you kind of know there's something coming that isn't what you want, I can sit here and cry about it, which I have been, not going to lie, I have. I'm a writer, it's like, shit. Or I can say, all right, I know that's going to happen, but it's not happening right now, and I can get my butt moving. Somebody pointed out rightly on the live stream last night, well, you're such a good voice. You can record your words, and absolutely I can. Absolutely. And I will write with my fingers as long as I can. And I may not lose all visual acuity, and I may be able to just write and have an editor work with me, or work with someone who transcribes for me. It's not quite the same thing, but I'll be able to live with it. It's not the end of the world. It's the end of part of my world. But it's not the first time I've had to make adjustments in life. We can sit and whine and moan about it. And trust me, I have had a good old pout. I have sat crying, yelling it's not fair. I threw stuff at the wall. Not gonna lie. Because one thing I hate about all the gurus out there is they only show you when they're at their best. The wisdom I carry, and I know I've got a lot, comes from having lived life and feeling all of it. And all those people out there who pretend they're perfect to their audiences, they're robbing you of seeing the moments of actual decision that honestly make them great. Having no problems is not what makes you great. It's having a problem and then going, well, this is what I'm going to do about it. It's not letting it get you down forever. And it's also not comparing yourself to other people. Like, well, I know that'll be bad, but at least I have this. That diminishes your spot. Don't diminish yourself comparing yourself to other people in any way, shape, or form. Your experience is your experience. Your perceptions are your perceptions. It's all valid. My pity party was valid. I just don't want to sit in that energy. It's not productive, and I have a lot of work to do. I am finally able to live in my purpose. It took 52 years to get here. I'm not going to let my eyes being poopy get in the way of that. I'm reframing the situation, not lying about it. I'm not going to say it's all going to be okay, but I can reframe it and say this is what I can do. Virgo is practical energy, practical realism. And if you've ever been around somebody who has a lot of Virgo, there's also a great amount of compassion and detachment in there. My daughter is a double Virgo. And when she was about 7 years old, a friend of mine who our kids were very close, her daughter and my daughter were best friends. I watched my daughter exhibit the most compassion I've ever seen a human being exhibit another person. We were out and about all day trying to distract her friend while her mother dealt with the funeral home for her father because her daddy had passed away suddenly. And the rule was we would stop and talk whenever she needed to talk, we would do whatever she wanted to do. And we did everything that day. We went to the zoo. We went to the park. I took those kids all over Portland, Oregon. We got balloons. We got ice cream. And it was on the way to getting ice cream at the end of the day when I parked the car. And by the way, anytime she needed to stop and cry or talk about it, we did. And we listened. But at the end of the day, stopping at Dairy Queen, I heard my daughter's friend say, so my daddy didn't really love me, and that's why he went away. And my daughter, who had lost her own father because I had brought her and her brother to the States, and her father, which she didn't know, had chosen not to come. And he did make the choice not to. He refused. So all she knew is she didn't have her daddy. I heard her tell her friend, oh no, your daddy was called to heaven. He didn't want to go. He loved you. I remember. And the little girl said, but I don't. And Sarah said, I'll remember for you. And she held her hand. And then they put their arms around each other in a big old hug. And I'm watching this from the rearview mirror, trying not to sob. And her friend said, please do, because I can't remember any of that right now. And my daughter just said, it's because you hurt. You'll remember later. I'll remind you. The wisdom of that Virgo child. She's a double Virgo rising, Virgo sun. The kid who never cared about scary movies because she could tell they were made with computers by the time she was 3 and nobody told her. The ultimate realist, the one who figured out that Santa wasn't real because no one could live to be that old and be that fat. That was when she was 9. Showed the utmost compassion for a friend who was suffering. That stayed with me. It was such a sad day, but I was never prouder as a mother. And I didn't I raised her to be that way, but at the same time, she's naturally that way. That's how her energy works. And so remember, as nitpicky as Virgo can appear, it's because Virgo energy can see the best in you, and they want you to rise up to it. I know that because I've been on the end of Virgo nitpickiness. Remember, I raised one. But I've had a lot of friends with Virgo energy, and my dad has a Virgo moon. And they're not pointing out your flaws to make you live in them. They're trying to show you how much better you can be. And that energy going through your chart right now, if you look for the house with Virgo in it, you're about to have some major opportunities to refine, improve, organize, adjust, prepare, and get to another level to harvest the good stuff in you. It's a beautiful energy when we stop the insecurities of needing agreement or needing to be the best, but to rather understand life is about constant evolution and growth and purpose. Right now, we have Venus at 13 degrees. It's trining Uranus in an applied trine. It's applying in the trine. This is unrestricted energy. We could see healing happen. We could see an increase in income. We could see epiphanies and new understandings of how we can grow our own harvest to increase our yield, whether that's financial, in our career, in our relationships. If it's applying between the first house And let's see. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So between the first and the ninth house, it would be how you profess yourself to the world, how you project yourself to the world. You might change your beliefs. If it's from the second to the first to the ninth, second to the 10th, would be how you, first to the ninth, second to the 10th. It would be how you assert your authority and how you gain income from that. It would be attracting things in by disrupting the status quo, disrupting how you put yourself out there, presenting yourself in a new way. If it's from the 3rd to the 11th, Venus being in the 3rd, Uranus in the 11th, it would be about how you communicate yourself in groups or how you network or what you do online. You will have epiphanies or understandings or lightning bolt moments. From the 4th to the 12th, you might have some dreams that open you up, or your intuition is on steroids, or you have an insight, or your guides speak to you, or you have divine intervention. From the 5th to the 1st, it'd be Venus in the 5th, Uranus in the 1st. How you express yourself. You draw new creative expressions and you put yourself, you see yourself in a new way. You see your value in a new way. You might change up your appearance in a new way. From the 6th to the 2nd, with Venus in the 6th and Uranus in the 2nd. It's how you put yourself out to the world in your workaday life. You might change up your routine. You might get a job opportunity and you might have sudden income flow because of that. You might pick up a new gig or start a side gig or get the idea for that. Don't discount these ideas that flow into your mind. From the 7th to the 3rd, if Venus is in the 7th, and Uranus is in the 3rd, you'll attract some commitments, maybe a new contract, maybe a relationship, maybe something increases in your existing relationship, and you're able to communicate in new, disruptive, increasingly beneficial ways. That's the positive side of this. This is actually a great transit. If Venus is in the 8th house and Uranus is in the 4th, this is about the mystery as you draw something deep from your ancestors, or it's a soulful exchange. You gain a new understanding of your family and the gifts that it brought you, even through trauma. Even through trauma. It might even be that you're moving house or shifting things in your living environment. If it's the 9th house where Venus is residing and the 5th house is where Uranus is, it will be about expressing yourself, writing, projecting, professing, learning, gaining skills, and then putting yourself out there in kind of a funky way. Talk about inspiration central. If Venus is in the 10th house and Uranus is in the 6th, it's about understanding and accepting that you have to switch things up in your daily routine, that your reputation is gold. You may see a promotion and you may get unexpected work. And there will be new opportunities for you. Venus in the 11th, Uranus in the 7th. You find out that your network is very lucrative. The people around you support you in a new way, and you may find yourself committing to new inspiring projects or having people show up to partner with you. This could be romantic, it might not be. And from the 12th to the 8th, if Venus is in the 12th and Uranus is in the 8th, this is a deeply spiritual time. You might come up with a new ritual or be inspired with a prayer or some affirmations. It's a good time to do the subconscious work, to get epiphanies around your intuitive faculties. Pay attention to the signs that come your way. That's what happens with this Venus trine Uranus happening on August 1st and August 2nd. Good stuff, Maynards. It's a beautiful, beautiful transit. There's a lot of good happening with this Venus and Mars in Virgo. I don't like traditional interpretations because they're based off hierarchical thinking and patriarchal thinking. There's no such thing as a bad placement. There's only shitty consciousness that goes with it. When we think in terms of good and bad, good and evil, there's only one way to see things. We limit our experience. There's always a silver lining. There's always an opportunity. There's always some way we can serve or be served, to heal and to help. I took a vow a long time ago to be of service. I took it long before this lifetime, and I took it again in this lifetime. I am happiest when I am of service, when what benefits me assists other people. That makes my heart sing. What makes your heart sing? How can you reframe what's going on in your life, even if it's challenging? How can you find the silver lining? Because Virgo energy is highly perceptive. We want to use our perceptions to the greatest advantage. If you're a patron, let's talk about that in the Discord. So we've got some other stuff coming up in August. We've got that new moon. From now until the new moon, I want you to take an inventory of what is good about you. What are you good at? What are your skills? What are you good at? And don't look at what you want to be better at just yet. But if you do feel the need to go, like, this is what I want to improve in my life, then make a list of what you already have to help you get there. One of my favorite sayings is, if I don't know how, I know I can learn it. If I don't know how, I know I can learn it. So if you don't know it yet, know that you can learn it. Find assistance to figure it out. Make those lists of things that you already possess to help you harvest the fruits of your labor. You've done a lot of emotional work this year, all of you. I know you have. Take a look at your harvest. All right, let's do some patron shout-outs. Well, oh my gosh, we hit some milestones. We've got 200 patrons. That is so exciting. So we've got Hannah Kuhari, Zahara Solomon, Rita, and I'm not going to try to say that last name because I'm going to butcher it. We've got Patia, Zach, Callahan, Julie, Omino Majo, Maureen, Victoria, Heather, Maisha, Samantha, Brenda, Cassie, Monica, Jennifer, Marcy, Lo, Casey, Jocelyn, Kate, Mama Bear J, Erica, Molly, Liz, Cloud, Allison, Daria, Nancy, Angelica, Angela, Meredith, Nicole, Jamie, Sabrina, Delmira, Brooke. And when we go into the Discord server, see what's going on. We've got a couple new threads. We've got people talking about celebrating some stuff, some good stuff. Lots of tarot chat. We've got a new Sunday link up thread where I'm having people put their links to social media, and if they've got giveaways, help them grow their followings too. We've got everything from links to chocolate to yoga, tarot, and mediumships. But yeah. We've got somebody who just put a link into the Awakening chat with a site catalog for sacred texts. That's a great resource. And as always, if you are a patron, jump into the Discord. We're not cliquey at all. The more the merrier. The more the merrier. We've got voice chat as well. So if you're feeling down or you need some support or you want to celebrate, you just want to chat, jump on in. We've got enough air sign energy in there that somebody will jump on with you. Just say, hey, I'm jumping into voice. Whoever wants to chat, come on down. You don't have to wait for me. We've got other good stuff happening with the Patreon. So big shout out to all my patrons. I love you dearly. Thank you so much for all of your support. Without you, none of this is possible. So thank you. I'm honored. A little bit of housekeeping before I talk about the rest of the August astrology. And I'll talk about that more as we get closer up to things too. But housekeeping, I added some more hours for readings in August. I know people were wanting to get in to do readings with me, and I know I booked up. That's not a bad problem to have, but I opened up some time. So if you were hoping to get in before September, there's some time available now. Excited about the workshop starting on August 4th, where I'm teaching people how to read the birth chart. We're going to do some foundational astrology in there and help you understand it in a whole new way. With progressive astrological interpretations. So we've got the new moon coming up. That is August 8th. And I talked a little bit about it in the segment before the shout outs. So here's the deal. New moons are always for new starts. This is in Leo. You want to look to the house with Leo. And this is to do with self-confidence. This is having to do with shining your light, putting yourself out there. Depending on the house it falls in your chart is what will be up on deck. If you need some help understanding that, come into the Patreon Discord server and ask questions. I will be glad to address that. I'll be making more TikToks, and I will do a YouTube video about that as well. New moons are energizing. Now, we release stuff to allow stuff in. So we'll be releasing up into the new moon. It might be a little emotional getting there, because the moon will be moving into Cancer before it moves into Leo. So expect kind of the run up to that new moon to be one of releasing resistance. Now, your biggest resistance is what you create for yourself. When you feel like you're not worthy, when you feel like other people don't see you, when you feel unheard, not understood, when you don't feel valued, when you're putting your power in other people's hands, that gets in the way. We can be in resistance to other things as well, and it's important to be in as much acceptance as possible. Doesn't mean resignation. Acceptance and resignation are different. If you resign yourself to a terrible fate, that's very different than accepting what is there and then making plans around it. But our biggest resistance is how we view ourselves and Trust me, I do over 100 readings a month for people. And I think the greatest challenge people have is in understanding how very valuable they are. So work on those lists of qualities you possess that you know can help you move forward. Whether it's making lists of understanding, you're a good communicator, a good listener, an empathetic person. Are you empathetic to yourself? Are you gentle on yourself? Live up on yourself. Make lists of things you'd like to do more of that fuel you and enliven you. Don't look at them from the lens of loss or the lens of have to do it, should do it. Make lists of things that enliven you. What makes you feel alive? What makes you find joy, childlike laughter? What tickles your funny bone? A lot of times when we look at spirituality, people kind of translate from, especially in America, they translate from Christianity, where we're supposed to be good little boys and girls. And so, having a wicked sense of humor or kind of enjoying some schadenfreude isn't allowed. Well, it's not contrary spirituality. Is it the highest vibe? No. But whatever makes you laugh is pretty good. Spirituality, that the universe doesn't care about a lot of what we care about. What makes you feel alive? What makes you laugh? What makes you joyful? I was just talking to my friend Kirsten on the phone before starting this podcast, and I was a little bit in my pout over my eyeballs and I said, my God, I'm tired of crying about this. I've cried enough. I want to feel better. I know good stuff is on the way. The minute I said it, a butterfly flew by. And I was like, well, there it is. There's the sign. Shift my attention. I don't need to live in the future. My reality right now is I can see, and there's butterflies to see. They delight me. It's the little things, guys. It's the little things. Delight in little things. Look for the little things that bring you joy. There's something to be said for being easily pleased. And with that, laugh loud, because it's Leo energy. Go big or go home. Dance. My God, dance. Listen to music. Move. Express yourself. Sing off key. Do whatever you can to move the energy in your body over the next few days until the new moon. We'll be talking more about that on Patreon and on the podcast here. I'll do a new moon forecast as we get closer. And I'll be talking about it on TikTok and in the newsletter. If you are not a member of my website, get your butt on there, because we will be... I'm sending out a newsletter today. I've got a gift for everybody who joined up, a little discount saying thank you. And there will be more workshops coming as well. Some of those to do with astrology and business. So I'll talk about that more on the next episode. Until then, I love you guys. Thank you for your support. Thank you for trusting me. And thank you for making a difference in the world, because just being here on this planet at this time, you are of service. Love you.